Hi, I'm Kathleen.
I'm Georgette.
I'm Randy.
And you're watching
Word of Mouth.
God, I had an awful dream the other night. Yeah, I dreamt that I could see. I dreamt that I woke up and I could see, and that being blind had been a dream. Then I dreamt the sun was shining in through the window there, and there, just sitting on the windowsill, was a blue bottle, or a horsefly. And there was such comfort in his blank, unseeing regard for me, Mr. Lockhart. You just know that God is in the fly, don't you?
Except they seem to like the taste of shit so much, don't they?
Yeah, well, that only adds to their intrigue.
We saw The Seafarer, which is a hysterical comedy which takes place on Christmas Eve in Dublin at the house of a brother who has recently gone blind, played by Jim Norton, and his brother, played by David Morse, recently came to tend to his needs and care for him as he was getting sicker and blind.
They're joined by their friend Ivan, and eventually by another friend, Nikki, and then joining them at the end is a mysterious stranger named Mr. Lockhart.
Basically, he's tending to his brother who's gone blind. It's Christmas Eve, and a couple of their buddies come over to play poker and drink, and one of them brings with him a stranger, and the stranger ends up being none other than the Prince of Darkness.
It seems that the brother, Sharky, there's a brother, Richard and Sharky, two brothers, he played cards with the devil 25 years ago, and he lost, or he won the devil, and the devil told him he'd be back. And the devil comes on Christmas Eve, the way he said he was going to, 25 years later. He wants to play cards with him, he wants to take him to hell.
So the devil comes calling, and they play poker, and the stakes of this Christmas Eve poker game are literally David Morse's soul.
It wasn't what I expected. It was a little bit different. I thought because it was an Irish play and I was thinking about the Beauty Queen of Lebanon, so I thought it was going to be like that. It was very funny, except for the parts when it's not funny and it's scary. It was like a little bit of each. It was very funny and then very scary, mixed together.
I wasn't terrified, but there are things going on that make you jump. And I don't want to ruin it, but that's, things do happen that are quite eerie.
A little scary. Kieran Hines plays the devil, very suave, very diplomatic, somewhat diabolical, and he has a few really intense, evil moments where you know he's the devil. But it's not a scary show. It's a fun show dealing with some possibly scary issues.
This play is very mystical, very metaphysical, and Christmas Eve plays a huge role in that. Things happen on Christmas Eve, kind of good and evil, and the birth of hope, let's say. And there's a lot going on with those themes. Kind of despair, challenge, hope, redemption, and change are really the themes in this show.
They're very serious ideas, talking about or dealing with the afterlife and repercussions of your sins or your mistakes, but it's done in such a comical way that it never feels heavy-handed.
The only thing is that they all speak with brogues, and if you don't pay complete attention, you lose the jokes. You can't, it's hard because then they're all screaming, they're all drunk. They're drunk through the whole play, so besides being slurry and having brogues, you have to really concentrate so you can figure out what they're saying.
The show is very funny. Funny in the way that kind of drunken men together carrying on with Irish brogues can be funny, if that makes sense.
And they curse a lot, which I wasn't expecting. And I think when Irish people curse, it sounds really better than when Americans curse. It's funnier. It's much funnier. That's why it was so funny, because the F word was flung around constantly.
I've been trying to figure out why it's called The Seafarer. It takes place along the coast, so you're near the sea. David Morse's character, Sharky, actually worked on the ocean on a boat, so there's some connection to the sea. But in one of the devil's long speeches about what hell is and what it's going to be like for people in hell, he compares it to being sort of someone suffocating down in the depths of the dark black sea. So that was another connection to the sea. But the Seafarer, I'm still not quite sure who that is or what that means, I'll have to process that some more. Like, what is a seafarer?
I saw Shining City by Conor McPherson, and I loved it. It was one of my favorite shows from about 2 seasons ago. So I was looking forward to seeing this very, very much. And because I had seen Shining City, I know that Conor McPherson writes kind of a very Irish myth and legend, and there's always a kind of spooky element to his plays. And I was looking forward to seeing that in this play, and it delivered. It was quite mystical.
It makes you think, but there's a joke after every deep thought that doesn't keep you down for too long.
I think it's very interesting when a writer directs his or her own work. I don't think it worked in this case. I would have preferred another hand. I thought that the characters were really coddled too much, and that some of the direction wasn't as sharp as it could have been, particularly some of the more, the broader comedic aspects. I thought that it was a little too broad. Because then all of a sudden you get these very heavy, dramatic, very metaphysical, these huge philosophical discussions, and it's almost off balance. I think it could have been a better mesh if somebody with a more dispassionate eye were looking at the production.
I would recommend this to my friends. I really would. It's just different. It deals with, I think I liked it. I like spiritual, supernatural kind of stories and issues and topics.
This is a tough one to recommend. I mean, I was really looking forward to it because I love Shining City. I also love The Weir, a number of years back. So I'm a fan of Conor McPherson's. This is a tough play.
I would definitely recommend it. People will wait for me to come back to work tomorrow so I can tell them if it was good. I absolutely liked it very much.
Oh, wait a minute.
Come on, you remember, in the morning, that moment, when the guards opened the door and told you to get your stuff and get lost.
Yeah.
Well, I organized that!